many progressives I have asked? You know how many DMs I asked this one woman, Yaba Blair. I offered to give her, I shit you not, I could show you the DM. I offered to give her 10 grand to come on the show. She said no. Because this DEI, the woke fucking shit, is lucrative. It's all a hustle. I wish you folks would see it's all a hustle. They know. They're laughing at you. They're like, I can't believe these spineless bastards are letting us get away with this.
Everyone's a victim!
Coming to you live across the globe from the Technocracy, it's your boy Gerard Michaels, and this is Gerard versus Evil. In the engineer booth is our faithful producer, Christian Perello, ladies and gentlemen, and joined with Christian, Jossie Romero Gonzalez. How we doing, folks? Good to see you both over here today. We got a lot to cover today. You guys saw my video yesterday. It's going kind of viral, which is kind of a weird thing to say for a grown-ass man, but the world is trying to pull apart at the seams. And I think one of the biggest things that we can do, our live access was removed. I don't know why. But we got kicked off of live on TikTok already. There was 1,000 people and we got kicked off already. Pretty incredible. So, can't even believe it. We didn't make it one whole minute on TikTok. Maybe they should ban TikTok after all. Just go ahead and ban it. It's crazy. This world is very weird right now, guys. This world is we're all trying. I feel like for years now, we've had like this intuition where everybody feels like something is just not right. We can't put our finger on it, and we've been blaming each other. White people and black people and gay and straight and Republicans and Democrats. We're all looking at each other as if we're the problem. But taking a step back and trying to make assessments, I think it's actually one of the most impressive feats in human history that we have been able to stay together as long as we have. If you look back really at the last 20 years, if you look back since the Patriot Act, I mean, shoot, you can look back towards Nancy Pelosi in 1992, talking about Agenda 21. Like, they have been trying, the blob, as Mike Pence likes to call them, have been trying to get us to tear this thing apart so that they can pick up the pieces and rule in their image for 20, 30 years. And we have resisted it. It's crazy. If you think about just the last 5 years alone, look at all the news that has come out recently. Medical news, everybody was lied to. Government, corporations, media, all in on it. Big tech, all in on it. And still, half, maybe more of the population resisted that. Imagine resisting $1 trillion and the most powerful people on earth trying to lean on you, telling you what to do. They've tried to get us into a race war, and we've had our struggles, but we've resisted it. They've tried to get Democrats to hate Republicans, and we've had our struggles, but people have resisted it. They want men to hate women. They want gay people to hate straight people to hate gay people, and still here we are, just being the good, cool people that Americans have pretty much been. It's really something for all of you listening and all of you out there to be remarkably proud of yourself that you've been able to hold them off this long. But it also doesn't do us any good to lie to ourselves. You know, a lot of people ask me all the time, probably the number one question I get asked on the road especially is, do I think there's going to be a civil war? Which is kind of a crazy thing to say. You know, like that's the number one question I get asked. Not like, hey man, did you ever think about, eating a salad? Like, hey man, did you ever hear of cardio? No, the number one question I get asked, Jossie, I swear, is do I think there will be a civil war? And I used to answer, yeah, I do. I do think there will be, like over the course of a period of time, that's kind of an inevitability, right? But now I think I was wrong. I think upon reevaluation, we have been in a civil war for years. I think war has completely changed. I think the idea of war that we have, this idea of like people, we kind of still have almost like a late 20th century, early 20th century idea of war, like the good guys versus the bad guys, you know, the Allies versus the Axis. You put on those helmets, I'll put on these helmets, and we'll meet on the battlefield. And that's not war anymore. War now is who can silence their opponents. It's a Cold War. It's the same Cold War that the United States engaged in with Russia, China, communism, essentially. Only now that apparatus, that entire Cold War apparatus, those three-letter agencies, those, what would be the term I can use? Those, the deep state, basically, that quote-unquote won us the Cold War, has now turned their eyes, like the eye of Sauron, has now turned their eyes on us, the American citizen. All of those apparatuses that were used to spy on our enemies are now being used to spy on everyday citizens. All the power of the United States government, all the power of the United States military that helped bring enemies to its knees over the course of the last 100 years is now turned on its own citizens. And that's something that you see more and more and more being offered shamelessly with evidence daily. I mean, evidence just came out that Merrick Garland, our Attorney General of the United States, signed off on, and depending on who you believe, convinced reluctant FBI agents to go along with a raid at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's home, that included the use of deadly force. So just think about that for a minute. Just think about where we are as a nation and as a government, where not only is lawfare a thing, and let's get this out of the way, all right? Lawfare is 100% happening. Don't let these people gaslight you to death. Donald Trump's got 95 indictments. Yeah, that's lawfare. You guys are trying to indict him nonsensically and constantly. AOC let the cat out of the bag like she normally does. That's probably why she likes her, boyfriend likes her so much. I think her boyfriend's more of a pegger, but I think if AOC let the cat out of the bag a little bit more, he'd probably be a little more masculine. But AOC let the cat out of the bag after her dust up, after her cat fight with Marjorie Taylor Greene, where basically Donald Trump has an ankle bracelet. He has the legal, what'd she say? She called it the legal version of an ankle bracelet. All but admitting that the Democrats' plan is to not let Donald Trump campaign. This is not the country that I grew up in. This is not the country that I love. If you can't beat the man on his ideas, and we're not talking about like an otherworldly intellect here. We're not talking about like a once-in-a-lifetime revolutionary, okay? Robert Kennedy, they won't give Robert Kennedy Secret Service protection. The man is polling, depending on which polls you believe, the man could be polling as high as 20% as an independent. And, oh, by the way, his father, shot. His uncle, shot. Both assassinated. Lifelong Democrat, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, who's really running things. And the Democrats won't give, forget a debate. Forget a debate. They won't give him Secret Service protection. They have arrested, by last count, over 200 quote-unquote Republican lawyers. The lawyers who were trying to prove in court that the 2020 election was, what's the word they like to use? Fortified? It's fortified. You're still allowed to say that the election was fortified. It's a weird time, man. It's a very, very weird time. Klaus Schwab, the very definition of evil, resigns from the World Economic Forum. Not weeks after the Slovak prime minister was another attempted assassination. This world's getting weird. There is a global power. I don't care what you want to call it. I'm not gonna give the whole like conspiracy spiel. If you don't see it by now, I really don't know what to tell you. If you don't see it by now, you are willfully ignorant. But you're not willfully ignorant because you're watching Gerard versus Evil. So I know that I'm talking to the right kind of people. I know that I'm talking to the people that have felt it. It's more than seeing it, right? It's more than, yeah, I know history. Yeah, I've been in government. Yeah, I can read the tea leaves. But before any of this, it was a feeling. It was a feeling. We all felt it. We felt the energy. We felt it in the air. We said, man, this is not right. Something about this isn't right. I don't care if you were liberal. Russell Brand. Who was more liberal than Russell Brand? Who was more liberal than Brett Weinstein? Brett Weinstein, a professor at one of the most liberal colleges on earth. Jordan Peterson was a philosophy, a psychiatry professor in Toronto. We're not talking about right-wing lunatics. There was something in the ether. There was something in our collective consciousness that said, man, there's a game afoot. I don't know what it is, but this isn't right. That's the first step before you ever go down this rabbit hole, okay? And that's a shitty rabbit hole to go down. I had people telling my sisters, what's wrong with your brother? I think he's crazy. I had people that were sending me the most heinous DMs you could ever imagine. We're laughing at you. And along the way, over the last 5 years, time after time after time after time, we've all been proven right. But it starts with an instinct. It starts with a feeling. And when you have that feeling, I guess for some people, they're able to just mask it. I guess for some people, they have that feeling and they're able to be like, no, I'm crazy. Maybe they don't have the self-belief, or maybe they're just nervous, or maybe it's a very scary thing to have that feeling and not have any real plan or way to do anything about it. I get that. I get those people. I have people like that in my life where they're like, Gerard, what if you're right? What do I do then? What then? And I get that. And that's a very, very, very scary place to be. So it's not for everybody. And it's not the best career move in the world, to stand and constantly question authority. But for your soul, if you believe in such a thing, going along with evil, going along with people who would censor their fellow man, going along with people that would arrest their philosophical opponents, going along with people that would put a grandmother in jail for 6 months for walking through a building that her taxes pay for, going along with people that would spend millions and millions of dollars on weapons to be fired 3,000 miles from our shores, while there are people that are dying here at home because we don't have clean water, because we don't have an effective healthcare system, because our school system is nothing but a jobs plan for Democrat voters. Call it what it is. Our school system is a jobs plan. It's not about the kids. It's not about growing the next generation of leaders. It's not about creating a generation of critical thinkers. It's about giving a Democrat voting bloc jobs. And it's about creating people who will vote for the power and work for the power. That's what our school system is. And our healthcare wants to keep people just healthy enough to work. And then as soon as you're not a worker, see you later. They'll fix you before you're a worker so you can pay the debt the rest of your life. But let something happen to you at your waning working years. Look how difficult they make it for you. We all feel that this isn't working. Again, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, even the communists, this isn't working. It's too corrupt. It's too criminal. Why should we? We look towards leaders. You look at what happened with Jasmine Crockett. You look at what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You look at what happened with AOC. And these are our Congress people. These are supposed to be our leaders. This is basically the whole concept of Congress is these are our tribal elders. Each of our little tribes sends a representative to the big tribe. Imagine if that was your tribal leader acting like that. Any of the three of them. Those three tribes would be in war for the next 100 years. For the next 3 generations, those 3 tribes would come back and be at war with one another. If this was Greece and those were the 3 leaders of city-states, it would be a 100-year war. It's so reckless. It's so narcissistic. It's so self-serving that with everything going on in the world today, that we're talking about, you can't read because of your eyelashes. Oh, baby girl, baby girl. This is the United States Congress? This is the United States Congress? I mean, I remember when I was a kid, the worst thing in the world was like the big boss getting a blowjob from an intern. What we wouldn't do to have that. We had prosperity back when dudes were running the place getting topped off by fat chicks. Now we got to see these ratchet bitches going after each other while 30% of your tax dollars get sent overseas. You can't afford groceries for your family, but these bitches are selling merch about acting like complete and total buffoons on the Capitol. That same Capitol that there's people still in jail to this day for the insurrection. How would they be running the place any worse? It's a joke. From a guy that knows how to tell a shitty joke. This is a shitty joke of a government, boy. And then you got Joe Biden out there just completely falling apart. They've got him propped up on more. I mean, he's basically the zombie from Fallout at this point. If he just loses the tip of his nose, he's Walt Goggins. I would rather Walt Goggins. Seemed better. Every time he takes a hit, they found cocaine. By the way, they found cocaine again in the White House. Did anybody know that? They didn't. Does anybody know that? Did you guys know that? Feel free to turn your mic on, Chris. But again.
No, I didn't know that.
Great. Turn it off.
Let the record show.
Let the record show. So I'm sitting here, man, and you got to turn it off when it's not on, no, Chris, because it picks you out. So you're sitting here and you're like, man, they really want us to fight. They really want power so bad. These people really want power. Like, have you ever just thought about being good at your job and we'll give you more power? Have you ever thought like, hey, you know what? Instead of pitting us against each other, instead of making everything the pettiest fight of all time, the Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, all right, gave a commencement speech about how the women and the men there may go on to do many great things, but the most important thing that they will ever do is to be parents and to be family members, and that, women don't choose a career over your family. And the American left absolutely lost their mind. Mostly white men in the media that were desperate to white knight for their colleagues. And I'm sitting here going, man, like, one, it's a commencement speech. The guy's not an elected official. Why do you give a shit? 2, I remember a commencement speech probably 4 years ago where the president of the University of Columbia said that the biggest threat to these Ivy Leaguers going forward was the First Amendment. That people who are less than them, that the plebeians would have a say. And that they should reject that because they are Ivy Leaguers. They're from Columbia. And their voice deserves to be louder. That, to me, is the most ridiculous thing anybody could. The president of a university speaking to his students, telling them to reject the First Amendment. This is just like all these years when people were telling us to stop doing your own research. Trust the science. Don't question things. Questioning things and doing your own research used to be called science. At the very least, that's what journalism used to be. Can you imagine? Hey, I got a quote from this guy. He says he's not beating his wife. Well, might as well trust him. No reason for us to do any research on it. That would make us conspiracy theorists. Like, are we nuts? Are we nuts? So we're worried about Harrison Butker. And by the way, what did he say that was so bad? What did he say? He had the audacity to say that not every day has to be yay to be gay day. I mean, how many freaking awareness days does 10% of the population need?
I got a couple comments here.
Go for it.
We got Broken Board saying, "What happened to you? What happened to you on Valuetainment? You were good. I'll sub to your new channel."
Appreciate you. I got fired. Patrick fired me. I answer this question two or three times a day every day.
Should I not read those?
No, go ahead. I don't care. It's fine. Yeah, Patrick
We
fired
gotta
me.
let the people know.
Yeah.
Casey Dillard said, "My man."
My man, Casey.
Dr. Vinny Boombots
Hey,
said,
Dr. Vinny Boombots.
"It's not
like
a conspiracy when it's proven."
It's a conspiracy until it's a fact.
And
that only takes about, 90 days.
And then we got Casey Dillard saying, "Repeal the 19th." Repeal the 19th.
What does repeal the 19th mean to you, Christian?
I have not a clue.
Jossie, what does repeal the 19th mean anything to you?
She has not a clue.
Yeah, the 19th he's referring to is the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote in America. So Casey's saying repeal the 19th. I make a joke about that. It never goes over well. But also at the same time, I'm like, I don't think we had a lot of debt before the 19th. It looks like once we let women vote, the credit card debt in this country went through the roof. Kind of crazy. Sometimes I think about it. Sometimes I think about like what our founding fathers would think about our current government. And I could just like see the ghost of George Washington looking at us like, we left you so few rules. It was just suggestions, really. We were like, you know what, guys, like, just don't have political parties. Don't get into foreign entanglements. Now our political parties are starting a civil war and all of our money goes outside the country. Was George Washington, how smart was George Washington? He was like, look, guys, all right, I spent a lot of my life. I sacrificed a lot to create this thing here, okay? I fought off the greatest empire in the world, and then that wasn't good enough, all right? I had to come here and then run this place for 8 goddamn years. All I wanted to do is hang out on my farm, smoke tobacco, play some Fortnite. That's what George Washington wanted to do. But I had to do this shit 20 years. 20 years I had to give to my life. You know how long it is to live 20 years when you got wooden fucking teeth? 20 years I had to give to my life for this country. And I asked 2 things very nicely. I said, please, please, please do not have political parties and please do not get into foreign entanglements. Our political parties are ripping this country at the seams and we give all our money to NATO. 250 years. So people ask, are we going to get into a civil war? My friends, you are in it. It's a psychological war. It's a chemical war. It's a biological war. It's an information war. It's all around you at all times. You can't watch a movie without being inundated with commie propaganda. You can't watch Fallout. Fallout's some of the most ham-fisted commie propaganda you will ever see. White guy, bad guy. Gay white guy, probably good. Effeminate white guy, also, he can be okay as long as he helps the good guy. Who's the good guy? The masculine person of color, the masculine lesbian, bi, whatever, also probably person of color, but they'll let the white bi get in there. The white female, she'll have her powerful moment where she gets to beat up the 225-pound white guy. Because this is what they fantasize of. This is them somehow beating the man. This is our education system gone awry. This is the plight of the proletariat. This is Maoism. I got to do a deep dive to help you guys understand this. But this is a playbook that's been done time and time and time again. And it's our fault. We don't invest. We can bitch, we can moan, we can cry, and we do. But a movie just costs money. I know plenty of actors that feel like they are prisoners to leftist ideology because we don't give them any other options. What are they going to do? You're an actor and you're going to come out and you're going to say, hey, yeah, I think the trans thing with kids is nuts and these taxes are way too damn high. Oh, okay. I don't ever get to act again. Weird. We got to invest in the culture. There's so many people that agree with you, but it doesn't make financial sense to them for them to do so publicly. I don't blame them for being cowards. I blame us for not creating that parallel economy. There's so many people. There's so many artists. There's so many people that agree with freedom, with prosperity, with open-mindedness, which is really what anti-cancel culture is. It's open-mindedness. I do not need you to agree with me. It's boring if everybody agrees. I just need to feel comfortable enough to share my opinion with you, and you need to know that you can share your opinion with me. People accuse me all the time of like, well, why don't you ever have a counter opinion on your show? Why don't you ever have? Do you know how many progressives I have asked? You know how many DMs I asked this one woman, Yaba Blair. I offered to give her, I shit you not, I could show you the DM. I offered to give her $10,000 to come on the show. I offered to give her $10,000 to come on the show. She said no. Probably didn't believe I had it.
Does she need money though?
Probably not, because this DEI, the woke fucking shit, is lucrative. It's lucrative, man. It's all a hustle. I wish you folks would see it's all a hustle. They know. They're laughing at you. They're like, I can't believe these spineless bastards are letting us get away with this. Robin DiAngelo is a white woman who gets paid $50,000. $50,000 to go to corporations, Fortune 500. You can pull this up if you think I'm lying, and teach them how to be anti-racist. What?
Yeah, I would probably sell out for that amount of money too.
For $50,000? Right. Jeez Louise, man. Which, by the way, their way of being anti-racist is just to be as racist as possible against straight white men. But you're not allowed to say that. Reverse racism is not a thing. Yeah, okay. Try it with someone else, buddy. Try it with someone else. Gerard don't give a fuck. Baby girl. Where are our leaders, man? Who can I look up to? Who do I look towards?
Casey Dillard. Because he said reappeal the 19th was in reference to the AOC versus MTG catfight shit show.
Yeah, we know. I got you.
Just wanted to read that.
Just thanks, buddy. Yeah, appreciate y'all commenting. Keep it coming. We're on the Restream IO. We're coming everywhere. Probably kicked off of Facebook and Instagram by now for sure. Meta don't play. But yeah, man, it's a remarkable thing. And I was watching, and again, it goes to these instincts, right? Like the biggest thing with all this is like, you can laugh that off, right? Like you can laugh something like that off. Like there have been naughty people in our Congress before, you know. I believe it was who was the guy? Was it Barney Frank? I forget. There was a guy that used to go to truck stops, and he was a sitting congressman, and he was like in the closet gay, so he'd go hanging out at truck stops trying to offer truckers like hand jobs and stuff. I swear to God, like look it up. I think he was a Republican too. He was like a closeted gay dude, much like Lindsey Graham, allegedly. Not that Lindsey Graham, a completely different one for liability sake.
Was it Larry Craig?
Was it Larry Craig? I thought it was
Barney Frank.
Was it Barney Frank?
As gay.
Yeah, but I think it might have been Barney Frank. He got caught. Anyway, the point is, these people have always been pretty much bad people, right? Like Ted Kennedy. You know, you guys know what Chappaquiddick is? You don't know what Chappaquiddick is?
No.
And I like RFK a lot, but anytime anybody asks him about Chappaquiddick, he gets real elitist real quick and gets real nasty. Read up Chappaquiddick, and then when you Chappaquiddick was it a river? I believe it was. So Ted Kennedy was Bobby Kennedy's younger brother. It was JFK's youngest brother. And he was being fast-tracked to become the president of the United States after the other two had died. But he was more of a cad than the other two. Bobby apparently was a very straight-laced dude. JFK, you guys know, was like an absolute, to use the modern parlance of the times, boy, right? You guys know that about JFK? You didn't know that about JFK?
Wait, say that again.
JFK was was an F-boy. JFK.
Yeah, he was a womanizer, right? Yeah. Partier.
Big time. Probably a druggie. He had chronic he had chronic back pain. He's a war hero. His dad's a gangster. Joe Kennedy's a gangster. That's a dude who needs a movie. You know what he did to Rosemary Kennedy? Oh, man. Josh, you ever hear what they did to Rosemary Kennedy? Go ahead, look that up, Chris, and you know, the Kennedy family. And again, you know, if you're going to be in Camelot and you're going to be American royalty, you got to answer for it all. And look at what Joe Kennedy did to Rosemary Kennedy, who was
lobotomize her.
He was we talked about it in a very early episode of Slick and Thick, back when we were at the old studio. And she was a modern leftist woman. She was mouthy. She was very vocal. She was disobedient. She was a philanderer. She was out there throwing it around, letting the cat out the bag. And Joe Kennedy said, "I'm gonna give you one more chance," and he meant it. So again, when all these liberal women, they start preaching about these Republican men they want us in Handmaid's Tale. They want us barefoot in the kitchen. I'd rather be with a bear in the woods. Yeah. Because of people like Joe Kennedy, Democrat Joe Kennedy, who drilled a hole in his daughter's skull and turned her into a 5-year-old invalid. She can't use the bathroom by herself. Still alive, I believe, Rosemary Kennedy. She was a Kennedy. Chappaquiddick, Ted Kennedy drove the intern. He was almost definitely stupping, was drunk, lost control of the car, went into the Chappaquiddick Lake River, I forget what it was. And he came out, and she did not. And then he walked home, and it was like 48 hours later, like, "Hey, have you seen the intern or your car?" Oh, no.
He didn't report it?
Did not report it.
Also, she died in 2005.
Rosemary Kennedy did? Mm-hmm. Probably sweet release.
And then Casey Dillard's back saying Thomas Massey is the closest thing we have to Ron Paul.
Yeah, Thomas Massey's great.
Him and Rand are the only ones with half a brain.
They are. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul. But also they do nothing, Casey. I like them too, but they get nothing done. I mean, they're great, like canaries in the coal mine. They're great to be like, guys, you got to see this. This is the most ridiculous shit. So every week they're the ones coming out here telling us, Thomas Massey especially is fantastic. He's the one coming out here telling us you would not believe what these monsters are trying to pull off behind the scenes. But what do they actually do, though? What do they actually get done? What do they change? It's got to start local. The only way this thing is going to shift, we saw it because of how the World Economic Forum was very, 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 very upset that they're missing their marks. And you have these farmer revolts in Europe, and you have these people that just refuse to become these peasant workers that the elites demand we become. And again, the federal government can do whatever they want. But if local people don't enforce it, it doesn't exist. The dog can bark, but if it has no teeth, it can't bite. Federal can be very, very big and bad. But if we're local, and don't even get me started on the debt strike, if we stop paying into the system completely, it all crumbles. It's a house of cards. They're spending money that they don't have. They're spending money from 10 years from now. We stop paying in. We as a collective decide to opt out of this game. 6 months, guys. 6 months brings them all to their knees. Every single one of them. They're all so leveraged. They're all so deep in the corruption.
How do we opt out?
You opt out through the citizen debt strike. We talked about it a bunch on here. Everybody take out as much debt as possible, convert it into gold and tangible assets, and then refuse to pay back. Refuse to pay back. 10 million people, right? 10 million? What is that? How many? I mean, 1 million people a state's 50 million, right? So if we get 1/5 of that, if we can get 200,000 people a state, that's 2 football stadiums full of people. That's it. If you get 2 Alabama college football games to completely and totally stop paying their debts back per state, 6 months. This is what the rich do. This is what the elites do. Learn from them, guys. Like, what are we going to do? You guys want to take up arms and we're going to force these people. They put people in jail for 20 years for walking through the Capitol, a building that their taxes pay for. They're in jail for 20 years. People that weren't even in D.C. that day. What are you going? You're going to old school fight these guys? No, come on, think. What's the new way? Don't think the old way. Don't be a battleship in a world of drones. Think. Where are they vulnerable? The wallet. It's all debt. What rich guy do you know carries around cash? It's all debt. Their entire world is built on debt. They have mortgages, $20 million mortgages, because they're betting on the next thing. They're betting next month they're going to get their $100,000. What happens if you just take it away? What happens if you refuse to play their game? You opt out. What happens? Let me dream for a minute. What happens if we get 1 million people in every state, 1 million people in every state, 50 million Americans? 50 million Americans say all at once, left, right, everywhere in the middle. They look at the groceries and they say, fuck this. No, I'm done. No. And they stop paying their mortgages, and they stop paying their student loans, and they stop paying their auto loans, and they stop paying their credit cards. What happens? The system dies. It's a blood-sucking vampire. Give it no more blood. It's a parasite. Cut it off. There's so much science. The science says if you have cancer, what should you do? This is like Mickey's biggest thing. If you have cancer, like what's the most promising thing?
Go vegan.
Well, fast.
No, I'm just kidding.
Fast, which is basically the same thing. There's a lot of evidence that is showing that the most effective way to fight cancer, apparently, is fasting. It's not chemo. It's not radiation. It's not these, multi-million-dollar industries. It's just stop eating. Let the cancer cells die off. Stop giving yourself sugar. And I'm not a scientist. I don't know, but there's some very, very interesting. There's some very, very interesting studies coming out on this. And I believe that our government has become a cancer on the body politic. I believe our government is a parasite that is not helping us, that is actively hurting us, that used to look outward. They used to be the guy on the wall that was protecting us from this Red Scare, that was protecting us from the Nazis, that was protecting us from the commies, that was protecting us from the terrorists, who it looks like we created, and unleashed. Remarkable terrorism went away. Just went away. We were fighting the terrorists. We gave up all of our rights. We signed the Patriot Act. Please save us. Save us. Never again. Never forget. Please save us from these crazy people in the caves. And it never really occurred to us to ask, how do these cave people who make $1,000 a year, how do they have $50,000 surface to air missiles? Never occurred to us to ask, how do these goat herders, how did they get all these AK-47s?
Oil, G, come on. They all
Poppy.
oil. Yeah.
Poppy. Everybody wondered why we were in Afghanistan, and we're like, they got nothing but poppy over there. And then you look into it and you're like, holy shit. These pharmaceutical companies really want the poppy. Really want the poppy.
Here, I got some more comments.
Yeah.
They're flowing in. Casey Dillard again, he's back. They're taking away local autonomy with things like the Live Local Act that DeSantis signed. Then he said that APMEX card gives you cash back on gold and silver purchases and zero interest for a year. Mm-hmm. And we got Dean Froelich in here saying more bailouts with printed currency. Mm-hmm. And then we have sugar is poison. Sugar, the original Starbucks.
The original Starbucks, no, sugar is poison. No, it seems that way. It seems refined sugar is like the worst thing in the world for somebody. It's like the worst. But it's interesting, you talk about the Amex Gold, right? Our entire country, it's an attack on the dollar. Dean's 100% right. They're trying to get the everyday person to have to be in a place where digital currency is coming. That's what they want so bad. That's the next thing that they want, digital currency. But they have so many steps they have to go through there. I mean, they're just so hell-bent on control, guys. They're so hell-bent on control. they really, all we want to do is be left alone. None of us, I don't want to be talking about this. You think I want to be talking about this? People think I like this when they see me. They're like, man, why do you know? Because I'm desperate. I'm desperate to just like a puzzle to figure out. Like, I want this to end. I don't want to talk about this all the time. I want this to be over. I want to get back to living my life.
You feel like it's your duty?
I think once you see it, maybe in some ways, once you see things that other people don't see, you really kind of, but it comes from a place of love. It doesn't come from a place of like, wow, I'm better than you, or I'm smarter than you, or you're dumb. It comes from a place where like, guys, I'm telling you, this is what they're trying to do. There is a wolf at the gate. All right. And then people see a wolf at the gate. So what do we look for? We say we need a bigger wolf. Who is the wolf that will protect us? And then what happens when that other wolf beats the first wolf? Because that's kind of where we are now. These people made millions of dollars off of war. These people that become literal billionaires, that are war profiteers, they don't end war. Nobody puts themselves out of business, right? So then what they do is they use all this stuff, and some of it is evil, but some of it is just like, wow, look at this cool new technology. I can look through somebody's phone on their camera. And then there's that crossing the chasm moment of morality where it's like, should I read this celebrity's DMs? I mean, imagine you're working at Facebook and you're making like $20 an hour and you're a quote unquote content moderator, but they give you access to Drake's DMs, to Hillary Clinton's DMs, like, and you're just supposed to be like, well, Scout's honor. No. So then when the people in charge realize that that's what's happening, they go, okay, I need to get my people in there. And you look at a place like Harvard, you talk about ideological capture, all we ever hear about is diversity. 98% of Harvard's faculty is Democrat. 98? And I think out of the other 2%, it's 1.2% communist, and then like 0.8% like libertarian or conservative. Diversity? That's just different shades of the same thing. Oh, we have it's like Skittles. It's the same candy, no matter what color. It's not diversity. It's the same candy. Like, switch it up. Throw in a Reese's. Maybe, well, sugar's the enemy. Maybe I can, you get fat boy analogies when you come to Gerard versus Evil. Big back analogies around these parts. All right. But I am hopeful. Mostly because the younger generation, I think they push too far. And the younger generation looked at the older generation because they were told to, and they say, you boomers fucked everything up and you millennials don't know anything and blah, 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 blah. But now you look around and you say, damn, these groceries are expensive. Man, I would like electric to work, but electric vehicles really like, man, it's a pain in the ass. Like, why do they want us? Why is the only way to save the world? You ever notice the only two ways to save the world that these people offer are to give them total control and allow yourself to be a slave? That's their sales pitch. Enslave yourself, give up all your creature comforts, give up any agency in your life, and we'll save the earth together. These are the people telling you that we need to get rid of air travel while they're flying private jets. Harrison Bucker, they want Harrison Bucker fired for telling young women there is nothing more important in your world than being a mother. How have we fallen as a species? Walk through a cemetery, people. Walk through a cemetery one day and tell me if you see one gravestone that has somebody's net worth on it. When you walk through that cemetery, you tell me how rich or poor somebody was. Will you be able to tell? Here lies John, loving husband, loving father, great baseball coach. That's how they sum up that dash. All right? Because all of us on this planet, at the end of it, we're nothing but a dash. 1950 to 2040. What'd you do with that dash? How much money you accumulated in that time? If that's the game you're playing, brothers and sisters, you are playing it wrong. It's about impact, not income. You need money. I'm a capitalist. You need money. Money's a tool, like anything else. You know, a chainsaw in the right hands, it's a great tool. A chainsaw in the wrong hands, that's dangerous. Money's no different.
Here's another good one right here. AI is another wolf at the gate. They're pushing it on everything so much. They just laid off 40% of our IT people, and they're replacing it with a GPT clone. I can see UBI coming soon. Inflation is so bad that if you don't have money, you won't have a gravestone. That's from Casey Dillard again.
Yeah, the thing is though, like, I get it, Casey. I'm not an alarmist when it comes to that stuff. You know, people have talked about this for a long time. You know, they did the same thing. There are always these big step moments. You know, oh, we can't have piston engines. Think about all the jobs. It's going to put every horseshoer in the company out of business. Everybody who makes saddles is going to be out of business.
Electric cars.
Yeah, exactly. People will have to adapt. It's if you're not in code right now, or if you're a young kid and you're not studying how to program, you're in big trouble for sure. But also, like, I don't know enough about AI. So there's a part of me that thinks AI, there's some bullshit behind it. I have to be honest, and that's just instinct. And that's just take what I'm saying with the biggest grain of salt. There's just something about it where I don't think it's AI the way that we know AI. I think it's a very fast computer, but I also think it's just like a database of responses. But also at the same time, Twitter laid off, what, 75% of its workforce, and it runs better now? These AI tech jobs, a lot of them seem like they're bullshit, especially in like the marketing departments and stuff.
Yeah, he just said AI can write code now.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what it should be doing. You know, I mean, like, that's what it should be doing, you know? And we use AI, but also, like, humans use AI. Look, man, I get it. I understand it. But I'm not an alarmist when it comes to these things. Again, it's just a tool. It's a tool. I know Elon thinks it needs to be crazy regulated because it could take over everything. But how much worse could it make it? I mean, maybe if the AI takes over the drones. You know, there's over 9,000 satellites orbiting the Earth right now. 9,000 satellites.
I believe that. I got a question, though. Have you heard about that skyscraper they want to hang upside down from an asteroid? Have you heard anything about that?
That's news to me, brother.
Okay, well, it's an actual thing. I thought it was a joke, like an Onion article on Instagram or wherever. And I don't remember the name. I'll look it up. But they want to hang, it's proposed for New York City. They're going to build it in Dubai. I'm just totally serious. I know this sounds crazy. They want to hang it from not an asteroid. What would a orbiting piece of rock be? Is that
like a moon rock you talking about? Don't they call those satellites also like a moon, basically?
They want to hang it upside down, and it's going to be the tallest skyscraper ever.
You know, man, I love that. I love that humans want to do that. If one cent of my taxes goes to that, I will lose my shit. Can we fix every pothole in America first, please? Can we please get clean drinking water in our cities, please? Can we get the human shit infested hobos off our streets before we build upside down fucking skyscrapers on asteroids, please? Please? I'm all for it. I am all for it. Let's do it. But let's do it after we've cleaned up the human shit. Please. Order of operations. I am all for this. Let's do it. Let's build the upside down asteroid skyscraper. I'm in. Build Elysium. But can we, I don't know, first pay for like child health care first? I'm in, right? Like you climate people. Can you please come up with a plan to save the planet? Because that's what you really care about. It's not about power and it's not about a communist revolution, right? You actually really care about saving the planet. So can you come up with a plan that doesn't make all of us hate everything about our lives?
Here, this is my favorite picture of it. Because that just sums up.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's do it.
It's like a balloon.
I believe in the unlimited potential of human greatness. Let's do it. But let's do it after. After we fixed all the shit here. Can we fix the shit here, please? Please. Can we not just poison our food system first? Can we not have horrible water? Can we not have microplastics in our testicles first? Can we get rid of the microplastics in our testicles before we build the upside down sky city? Please. Please. And just one progressive, please come up with a plan that doesn't include us giving all our money and you taking all the power. That's all I want. Just show me how it works. Just show me. Can you show me? My God almighty. People always look at this and Republicans are so stupid. They're so dumb. And yet libertarians can't get together on anything. Like, guys, it's real simple. Show us what you've done with the money you already have, and we'll give you more. And if you're not using the money we're already giving you well, I don't know, like spending $1 trillion on a war that you can't win in a place that we don't give a shit about, maybe we shouldn't give you that money next time around. I don't know. Am I being crazy? I know that this somehow sounds like bigotry and transphobia. Someone's going to call me racist. But am I nuts? Am I nuts? Like, just, what the hell? Like, this, why are we making this hard? Start over from zero. I'm telling you, this is what I would love about the citizen debt strike. Because again, I was saying it before and I got derailed because that's what happens when you're dumb. You listen, you watch what the elites, do. And you play their game. You don't let them play you. You play them. Everybody gets mad. Donald Trump has 8 bankruptcies. They all do. They create a business. They run up debt. They get money from the bank. They pay themselves a salary. And then when it comes time to pay back, what do? BK the company. Sell it to somebody. And then buy it back from that person for a quarter. They use it as a credit transaction. That's what they do. I'm not making it up. Somebody who's an accountant looking at this, please tell people how corporate law works. Tell people how business law works. Tell people why LLCs exist. We all come together. What if we did it legally too? What if we didn't even do it like overtly, like a debt strike, like, no, we're not paying. And people always go back to taxes. Stop paying your taxes. No, you can go to jail for not paying your taxes. There's no debtor's prison in America. And if they switch it, if they switch that up, if they make a law and they make a law that quickly, you look at who did it. You look at who made that law, and that's everybody you need to know. Those are the people that got to go. If you're going to do it peacefully, which we should do it peacefully, and they won't let us do it peacefully, well, then we will know exactly who we need to ask questions of. The people that would then make not paying back debt a crime. Those are the true enemies. Then they will reveal themselves. Don't pay it back. If it's a bad deal, don't pay it back. If you got a shitty lawnmower from Home Depot, they got to take it back. It's a consumer protection issue. I don't know why the middle class, it's the middle class because the poor don't have shit, so they ain't got to worry about nothing. And the rich have too much shit, so they can get out of doing whatever they want. It's the middle class that always gets squeezed. We're the only people, the cops work for the rich, right? We're the only people they can squeeze. We just stop paying. And maybe we do it legally. I don't know. Maybe I'll look deeper into it. Maybe we can make a 50 million person LLC. We'll make a 50 million person LLC called Freedom Corp LLC. And we'll take out a couple million in debt and we'll just won't pay it back. And what is the business's thing? Our business's job is to just feed people for free. Or give people toilet paper. Or, because they're going to try to squeeze you. They want to squeeze you. They would want to try to break us. Look what they did with Occupy Wall Street. This is what I wish Occupy Wall Street was. I wish I was old enough and smart enough to be a part of Occupy Wall Street, because all they had to do was this. They just had to get people to stop paying in. But I don't think they knew the power that they had in the moment. The Blob did. The CIA, the FBI, the NSA, Homeland, they saw exactly the peasants' revolt that Occupy Wall Street was, and they turned us on each other, and they turned on us. The Eye of Sauron turned on us. They saw the Tea Party. They said, no. Turn on the race war. Get the genders against each other. It's pretty wild, but it's not over. In some ways, I think we're winning. We're winning. We're going to outlast them. You can't keep the truth in the dark forever, no matter what they try. No matter how hard they try, and boy, oh boy, do they try. We are hardwired to seek truth. We're hardwired to be good. I really believe it. I really believe 90% of us, maybe more on this planet, want to be good to one another. We want what's best for one another. We don't want to spend $1 million a missile to fire at people halfway across the earth. I just don't feel like that's defending democracy. What it's going to take, man, what it's going to take, is, I think, humor. I think we're coming together. I think woke is dying. People don't want to be controlled. Well, what do you guys think? I know how I feel. You tell me how you guys feel before we get out of here. What are your thoughts from your perspective in your world? Anything that I've said? Go. Any thoughts?
My thoughts are groceries are fucking expensive.
Yeah, man.
And the more expensive they get, the closer I get to. I think that's my threshold. Once Whole Foods is too expensive to fucking afford,
Yeah.
Or Publix. I mean, they're all the same, really now.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it, bro, is like where things aren't expensive, you're looking at both the portion and the quantity going down. And then that's part of the whole thing when we're hardwired to seek truth. Like, don't lie to me. Like, don't tell me this has always been this size. It has not. Like, it's the lying that we can't take. Like, how stupid do you think we are? That's the craziest part of this to me. Like, how stupid do you think we are?
Right, and then you have other people that are like, well, you just have to get rich and hustle. And it's like, well, yeah, that works for some people. But, like, I've heard that excuse a lot,
Who said that?
I've just heard it. I don't have an actual source for that, but I've just heard people say that. You know what I mean? Like, you're complaining about the economy and this and that. And I'm like, dude, it's fucking expensive. Like, it's not about getting rich and, creating a business and this and that. Like,
both things can be true at the same time. You can understand the circumstance and look for ways to improve your lot and overcome the circumstance, but that doesn't mean you have to just accept the circumstance for what it is. That's nonsense. Jossie and I were talking about this at lunch. It's like, somebody comes up and punches you in the face, and then somebody goes, oh, you know what? Hey, it could have been worse. He could have cut your arm off. What are you complaining about? No. Look, I can man up. I can learn to defend myself. I can learn to fight. I can improve my situation for sure. But also, why the fuck is that guy punching me in the face, and what's going to happen to him from punching me in the face? That's what people tell me, like, bro, COVID, you got to get over COVID. What is it, like 4 years ago? No, why? Why should I get over it? It's coming out now that I was right about everything. They moved me from my home. I had to leave. And now these people gaslight, they memory hold the shit like, oh, we never forced anybody to take a vaccine. Everything was voluntary. We made suggestions. Die screaming. All of you. Like, for real. Like, you have the audacity to yell at people, scream at people, get them fired, get them killed. People died. They died because you forced somebody on a ventilator that didn't need to be on a ventilator. If it saves just one life, well, what if you killed just one life? What if you ended just one life? Where's your accountability? It was never mandatory. We just were doing the best we could with the science we had. Die screaming, all of you. and then I'll get over it. Then I'll get over it. Hold one person. Can I get one apology? One? Can I get one person to acknowledge that asshole Chris Cuomo? You know, it turned out I was given wrong information. You're a journalist. What do you mean you were given wrong information? By who? Aren't you supposed to do your own research? Oh my God. We were given wrong information. I was acting with the best information I had at the time. Yeah. When you were using your massive platform to bully people and other people, when your brother was using his immense power as the governor of New York to put people in freaking getting fired up. I was about to end the episode. I'm getting fired up again. You put the elderly basically in prison. You turned our nursing homes into prisons. People died alone. Their wives, their husbands, their sons, their daughters were not allowed to be at their side. They were not allowed to go to the funeral. And you monsters want to sit here and be like, when are you going to get over it? Not one apology. Not one arrest. Zero accountability. Zero chance of me getting over it. This is Gerard versus Evil. Peace out. Have a great day to everybody except those people.
Everyone's a